I want you to answer one question right now. When was the last time you woke up with a real drive to do something? Not because you had to, because something inside you is actually alive. If you can't remember, the problem probably isn't your job or your relationship. It might be one molecule. And today I'll walk you through 10 signs that it's running low. I'm Dr. Andrew, and I focus on men's hormonal health. Before we start, here's something most men don't know. Testosterone isn't just the muscle hormone. It's the central regulator of the male body. It drives your libido, energy, mood, body composition, bone density, brain function, even how you make decisions. When it's normal, you feel alive. When it drops, you slowly fade, so gradually you don't notice. And here's the part that matters. Over the last 30 years, the average testosterone level in men has fallen by 20 to 25%. This isn't a personal problem. It's an epidemic. Let's go through the signs, from the obvious ones to the ones almost nobody talks about. Sign number 1. Your sex drive dropped. This is the most obvious sign and the most ignored. Men blame it on stress, on age, on being tired, on anything except hormones. But testosterone directly controls sexual desire through receptors in the brain that literally switch interest on or off. Thinking about sex regularly is normal. It's physiology. If you used to think about it often and now weeks go by, that's a signal. And keep these separate. Desire and performance are different things. Wanting but not being able is usually vascular. Being able but not wanting is hormonal. Today we're talking about the second one. If your libido faded gradually over the last year or two, that's not just getting older. That's a reason to get your blood checked. Sign number 2. Chronic fatigue and low energy. Not normal tiredness after a workout. The kind where you wake up already exhausted. Where by midday you want to lie down. Where coffee just doesn't hit like it used to. Testosterone affects the production of red blood cells, which carry oxygen. With low testosterone, your blood literally delivers less oxygen to your muscles and brain. It also acts on your mitochondria, the power plants of your cells. Less testosterone, less energy. That's not a metaphor, it's biochemistry. The typical man I see is 35 to 45, says he used to work 12-hour days, train, and still have a life. Now after work, it's just the couch. He blames age. His testosterone comes back at the bottom of the range. Technically normal, but in practice a deficiency for a young man. Sign number 3. Depression and mood swings. Here's what almost nobody mentions. Testosterone is an antidepressant. Literally, it supports the production of serotonin and dopamine, your main feel-good neurotransmitters. When it's low, a man becomes irritable, flat, unmotivated. In medicine, we call it dysphoria, a state between normal and depression. He doesn't cry or complain. He just stops enjoying things, gets angry for no reason, or pulls away and loses interest in hobbies, in people, in life. This often gets treated with antidepressants that don't work because the real cause is hormonal, not psychiatric. I've seen men spend years in therapy for depression until they finally check their hormones. After treatment, it's like they switch back on. Sign number 4. Losing muscle. Testosterone is the main anabolic hormone in the male body. It builds muscle by driving protein synthesis inside muscle cells. When it's low, muscle starts to shrink even if you train. That's called sarcopenia. And here's the paradox. The man keeps going to the gym but stops progressing. Same weights, smaller arms. The muscle gets softer, the definition disappears. He thinks he's training wrong, changes his program, adds protein. Nothing works because without normal testosterone, muscle growth is blocked at the hormonal level. If you train but your strength and size are flat or even dropping, that's one of the key signs. Sign number 5. Fat that piles on in the wrong places. This is what men see in the mirror but don't understand. Fat starts collecting not evenly on the belly but around the chest, hips, and thighs. The cause is a broken testosterone to estrogen balance. With low testosterone, fat tissue starts converting what's left into estrogen through an enzyme called aromatase. It's a vicious cycle. Less testosterone, more fat, more aromatase, even less testosterone. The most dangerous is visceral fat, the kind deep in your belly around your organs. It's hormonally active on its own and lowers your tissue's sensitivity to testosterone. That's why a man with belly fat almost always has testosterone problems, even when a number on the lab looks normal. Sign number 6. Disrupted sleep. Testosterone and sleep are linked both ways. 80% of your daily testosterone is produced during deep sleep. Bad sleep lowers testosterone, and low testosterone wrecks your sleep. Another vicious cycle. The signs: you take forever to fall asleep, you wake up in the middle of the night, you never feel rested in the morning. On top of that, low testosterone is linked to sleep apnea, where your breathing stops for a few seconds during the night. That's dangerous for your heart, and most men have no idea they have it. If your partner says you snore and sometimes go silent, get a sleep study. Correcting testosterone in men with apnea often dramatically improves sleep with no sleeping pills at all. Sign number 7. Losing body hair. Not on your head. That's a different mechanism. On the body, underarms, legs, chest. Testosterone drives hair growth in androgen-dependent zones. When it's low, hair in those areas thins out or disappears. This is one of the most specific signs because other causes for it are rare. If 5 years ago you had solid body hair and now there's clearly less, that's not random. Meanwhile, the hair on your head can stay fine because male pattern balding is about dihydrotestosterone and follicle sensitivity, not your overall level. A man can go bald on top and still have perfectly normal testosterone. These are different processes. Sign number 8. Poor focus and brain fog. Your brain is one of the biggest consumers of testosterone in the body. It has receptors in the hippocampus, which handles memory and learning, and in the prefrontal cortex, which runs focus and decision-making. When testosterone is low, men describe it as their brain not working. Hard to concentrate. Thoughts scatter. You lose the thread of a conversation. You forget words. You used to read technical material for hours. Now your attention drifts after 20 minutes. This isn't about being dumb or working too hard. It's neurobiology. Testosterone literally affects the speed of your neural connections. Men say their brain came back online after treatment, and that's a documented effect, not your imagination. Sign number 9. Lower bone density. Nobody talks about this because osteoporosis is seen as a women's disease. But men with chronic low testosterone slowly lose bone mineral density. It happens over years. No pain, no symptoms, until a minor fall causes a fracture. Testosterone directly stimulates osteoblasts, the cells that build bone. When it's low, bone breaks down faster than it rebuilds. After 40, men who might be deficient should get a bone density scan. It's safe, it takes 15 minutes, and it can prevent a hip fracture at 60. Sign number 10. Shrinking testicles and worse sperm quality. This points to primary hypogonadism, where the problem is in the testicles themselves, not just the control centers in the brain. The testicles get smaller and softer. This isn't just cosmetic. The testicles produce 95% of your testosterone. Their shrinking means production is dropping at the factory, not just at headquarters. And sperm quality, concentration, motility, shape depends directly on testosterone. In 30 to 40% of male infertility cases, the cause is hormonal. If you and your partner have been trying for over a year with no luck, a testosterone test and a semen analysis should be the first steps before any complicated workup. So 10 signs. Let's do a quick test. Give yourself a point for each one that matches. 1. Lower libido. 2. Chronic fatigue. 3. Apathy or irritability. 4. Muscle that won't grow. 5. Fat in unusual places. 6. Bad sleep. 7. Less body hair. 8. Brain fog. 9. Bone or joint issues with no injury. 10. Changes in your testicles or trouble conceiving. If you have 3 or more, that's a serious reason to get tested. Don't wait and see. Get your blood drawn. Here's what to order. Total testosterone. That's the baseline. Free testosterone and SHBG because it's the free testosterone that's active. LH and FSH to tell whether the problem is in the pituitary or the testicles. Estradiol because high estradiol blocks testosterone even when your level looks fine. And prolactin since too much of it shuts testosterone down. If you order it yourself through an online lab, a full panel runs about $90 to $150 out of pocket. Many insurance plans cover it if you have symptoms. Draw in the morning, fasted. It could change the quality of your life. Now let's talk about why testosterone drops. First and biggest, chronic stress and cortisol. Cortisol is testosterone's antagonist. They're made from the same precursor. When you're stressed, your body chooses survival and makes cortisol and testosterone get sacrificed. Second, excess body fat. Fat tissue makes estrogen and suppresses testosterone. Every extra pound of belly fat is another hit. Third, chronic sleep loss. 1 month of 5-hour nights lowers testosterone by 10 to 15%, according to research from the University of Chicago. Fourth, alcohol. Even moderate drinking a few times a week lowers it by 6 to 7%. Heavy drinking by 30 to 40. Fifth, a sedentary lifestyle. Strength training is one of the strongest natural boosters there is, so its absence works the other way. Sixth, xenoestrogens. Estrogen-like chemicals from plastics, pesticides, and some personal care products that block testosterone receptors. Here's what you can do yourself before you ever see a doctor. First, fix your sleep. 7 hours minimum. 8 is better. Total darkness. 65 degrees. No phone for an hour before bed. This is the single most powerful thing you can do for testosterone without a single pill. Second, strength training. Compound lifts, squats, deadlifts, presses give the biggest hormonal response. 3 sessions a week, 45 to 60 minutes. Not cardio, not running. Lifting. Third, lower your cortisol. Meditation, walks, sauna, a hobby, whatever you use to drop stress. The point is doing it regularly. Fourth, stop heating food in plastic. Switch to glass or stainless steel and ditch synthetic air fresheners and fragrances. Fifth, zinc and magnesium. They're cofactors for making testosterone, and most people in cities are low on them. Zinc, oysters, pumpkin seeds, beef liver. Magnesium, dark chocolate, nuts, leafy greens. When you actually need a doctor and what they can offer. If after 3 months of fixing your lifestyle, the symptoms remain and your testosterone is below the range for a young man, it's time to talk about medical treatment. There are a few approaches. First, stimulating your own production with medications like clomiphene or HCG, which wake up the brain-testicle axis. They work well in younger men. Second, testosterone replacement therapy, gels, injections, or patches. It quickly removes the symptoms, but it suppresses your own production and usually means lifelong use or a very careful taper. Third, fixing the cause. Losing weight, treating apnea, lowering prolactin. Sometimes that alone restores normal levels. Which path is right depends on your age, your plans for kids, the cause, and your symptoms. That decision is made with a doctor. No self-medicating. Let's wrap up. Testosterone isn't about being an alpha male. It's about quality of life. About waking up and feeling like life is worth living. About your brain working, your body responding, your mood staying steady. If you have 3 or more of these 10 signs, get tested. It's half an hour and about $100. It can explain what you haven't been able to explain for years. Don't wait for it to get worse. Testosterone falls with age for everyone, but how fast it falls and what you do about it is entirely in your hands. Take care of yourself. If you recognize yourself in 3 or more of these signs, drop a number in the comments. Let's see how many of us there are. And subscribe, because in the next video we'll break down how to actually read your testosterone labs and what your numbers really mean.